G'day guys, Justin here, coming at you with another NBA video. This one will be highlighting my personal MVP race so far in the 2018-2019 NBA season, and this one will be through to the end of November 2018. So without further ado, let's get into it. Just a couple of honourable mentions here. These are for guys who have played a small number of games or have a lack of games under their belt. They're lacking a team record, so their team record isn't that great, or they are simply just sitting on the outside waiting to move in to the top 10. Those five are Russell Westbrook, and again, in no particular order, Russell Westbrook, Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, Blake Griffin, and Steph Curry. And the next lot here are the next 10 guys. So these are the 10 guys outside of that perennial 15 there, and particularly outside the 10. And a lot of these guys are either playing a secondary role, again, have a lack of games under their belt. They lack a team record. They play well, but inside of a well-balanced team. They tend to be a hot and cold player, or they're only playing one side of the ball, so I can't really be putting someone in that's only playing one side of the ball. You've got to be able to contribute on both ends. And again, there is maybe the occasional secondary role player, second option player in this, but a very rare. Again, a lack of games sometimes does hurt. A lack of team record will always hurt. Playing in a well-balanced team does hurt with your ability to stand out. And if you're hot and cold on form, it's going to be very rare that you'll actually get in. And again, if you're only playing one side of the ball, why should I have you in this MVP race? You've got to be valuable, and value doesn't come on one side of the ball. At number 10, I have Andre Drummond of the Detroit Pistons. His current averages through to the end of November: 18.7 points, 16.2 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.3 steals, and 1.8 blocks. So a reasonably rounded game there for Drummond. As we know, he's a tremendous rebounder. There's no doubt about it. On 2.5 turnovers, so pretty efficient as well. 52.6 from the field, which is what you'd like to see from a big, shooting over 50%. 20% from deep. Again, he can hit them in practice, but if you're going to take them, you've got to make them. And unfortunately, he's not doing that at an effective clip. And he's never been a good free throw shooter. That's certainly something he needs to work on. But 3 major points here for Drummond. He is the best rebounder in basketball. There's no doubt about that. I think he's nearly 3 rebounds a game of everyone else. Even at the time of this recording, and certainly at the end of November. He's probably the best defender on the Pistons as well. But one thing we saw with Drummond last year, he was a perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate through to the All-Star break. It's a matter of sustaining that excellence throughout the entire season. So if he can do that, he can be a major player throughout the rest of the league, certainly for the Pistons. And notably too, he's had 6 games of 20 points, 20 rebounds to the end of November, which is remarkable. There's no doubt about it. He's the best rebounder in basketball. He's the best defender on the Pistons. He's probably really the best all-around player on the Pistons. And yeah, just consistency is what's going to be a major factor for him. So Andre Drummond at number 10. Surprise for many people will be the fact that at number 9 I have Tobias Harris of the Los Angeles Clippers. Harris is 21.7 points, 8.7 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 0.4 steals, 0.5 blocks on 1.8 turnovers. Doesn't necessarily scream at you, but effective scoring certainly does. 52.8 from the field, 44% from deep, and 82.6 from the free throw stripe. And the reasons I do have him here, he's been the best player on pretty much the best ranked team through November in the West. So, that does have some clout to it, particularly with the depth of the Western Conference. There's no doubt about it. He's been the leader of that team. And, he's been such a good leader and been able to gel that unit, which is essentially a group of role players. He's leading them to he's led them to one of the 5 best offenses in the league this season. And there's no doubt about it, he is delivering his best personal season, but he can't get carried away with personal glory if the Clippers are to maintain this clip and potentially cause a bit of a stir in the playoffs. Do I think they can win it all? Certainly not. But they're a good group of role players. They all play their role pretty well. And if they can stir up some trouble, there's no doubt about it, the Clippers can do some damage before the playoffs and come the playoffs and certainly throw things out of whack. But as I mentioned, he's the best player on pretty much the best ranked team so far in the West. I don't think they're the best team, but they're certainly the best seeded and the best ranked team so far. And I mean, he's leading them to a top 5 offense. He's an efficient scorer, a capable rebounder. Would like to see a bit more on the defensive end, but no doubt about it. Number 9, Tobias Harris from the Los Angeles Clippers. At number 8, I have Dame Dollar himself, Damian Lillard of the Portland Trailblazers. So far this season, Lillard is averaging 26.6 points, 5.1 rebounds, 6.1 assists, 0.8 steals, 0.4 blocks on 2.5 turnovers, which isn't too bad. Can be inefficient, and that shows in his scoring from the field at 44%, but 36.5 from deep, 89 from the stripe. He's able to make up for it. And I mean, honestly, for me, he's proven to be the winning reason for the Blazers this season so far. He's just such a key cog on that side. I mean, he is the heart and spirit of Portland at the moment. There's no doubt about it. And almost Oregon sports in general. He's the face of that, and he's proven to be an effective winner for the Blazers. He's also been proven to be able to score the ball a bit more this season at 4 games of 40 points so far, which is a pretty decent clip in itself. I mean, if he keeps on that pace, he'll have a dozen 40-point games under his belt by the end of the season, no doubt about it. Multiple 30-point nights as well, so he is proven there. However, due to his inefficiencies on the scoring end and the Blazers having a not as impressive record as they should, he is at risk of losing his place heading into the new year. So Lillard will need to up his production and need to keep the Blazers certainly in touch with that top 4 in the West. I think a 4th seed is going to be minimal if Lillard is any chance of potentially sneaking an MVP this season. But time will tell. He does have a reasonable band of players around him, capable scorers. Defense is certainly going to be the question for Portland this year, and something Lillard will need to pick up a bit himself. But there's no doubt about it for me. Lillard is the reason the Blazers are where they are, and that's why I have him at number 8. Number 7, I have PG himself, PG-13, Paul George of the Oklahoma City Thunder, who so far this season's having a pretty good year. 23.5 points, 7.7 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 2.2 steals, nearly a block a game there on 3 turnovers. Again, much like Lillard, scoring to be desired, 41.8 from the field. Does make up for a bit from deep at 35.5, and certainly at the stripe, 82.7 isn't too bad either. I mean, he's been key to the way the Thunder have been playing on both ends of the floor, and he's been leading the Thunder without Westbrook. It's consistency that will be the key, which I have highlighted here. Paul George does have this habit of going on streaks of 6-7 games where he looks like almost the best player in the league, but then he dips off for a week, and you really don't know where to put him. So a consistency factor there, there's no doubt about it. And I mean, he's certainly a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He's always an all-defensive mark around the league, has been for most of his career. But with the numbers he's been able to produce, while also showing the fact that he can rebound a bit and that he's still able to score, there's no reason why he isn't a Defensive Player of the Year candidate early on in the season. Again, a big factor to OKC. As I mentioned, Russ on the honourable mentions there, he's going to be pushing for another 23, 25-point triple-double this season. Can he have 3 consecutive years averaging a triple-double? Who knows? But as far as Paul George is concerned, I think his main concern, I should say, is leading the team on both ends of the floor, proving to be a stable rock for both the, for the first team, and being able to lead that second team as the second option in that starting lineup. And if he's able to play the way he's playing, there's no reason, with a bit more efficiency and consistency, why OKC really can't push deep into the playoffs this season. So Paul George at number 7. Number 6 might be a bit of a shock to people, but I have Mike Conley of the Memphis Grizzlies in my MVP race. 21.1 points, 3.4 rebounds, 6.7 assists. Actually leads all MVP candidates in this list for me in assists. 1.5 steals, 1.1 steals, 0.3 blocks on 2 turnovers. Again, scoring a little bit to be desired at 42.2 from the field. 34.1 from 3. Isn't too bad, and 82.6 from the free throw stripe, not too bad. The key has been the proven difference from Memphis. He has been the leader of that team. Marc Gasol has been very inconsistent the last 2 seasons, and the amount of games that Memphis has lost when they haven't had Mike Conley, and the stark contrast in their records to when he is on the team is, twofold. So there's no doubt about it. He is the proven difference for the Grizzlies. He's also proving to be a great mentor and leader for young Jaren Jackson, who I believe is going to be a smoky for Rookie of the Year, just his ability to score efficiently grab some boards, pass the ball a little bit. He's been a great inclusion for Memphis, and there's no doubt about it. Conley has proven to be a great mentor and leader for Jackson, and that's the sort of thing. I mean, he's proven to be a big spark for this this Memphis side for the season. But in saying that, Conley has proven to be a big factor as well, and I think it's his leadership that's making him stand up. But again, him staying on the floor and staying healthy will be vital for Memphis' success. No one picked them to be where they are now. In fact, a lot of people picked them to be down low in almost the bottom four of the West. It is only early, so it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. But no doubt about it, Mike Conley, a big factor in Memphis' success, and that is why I have him at number 6 in my MVP race. Heading into the top 5 now, and this is the man who's played in the East and Western Conference this year, Jimmy Butler of the current Philadelphia 76ers. On the season, he's averaging 19.6 points, 5.1 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 2.3 steals, leads all players in my MVP candidacy in steals. 0.8 blocks on 1.6 turnovers, pretty efficient there, and pretty efficient scoring as well. 48.2 from the field, nearly 43% from deep, and 81.4 from the stripe. Arguably, there is a case to be made. He's arguably the best two-way player in basketball, but he is once again a perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Even though he's known as Jimmy Buckets, Butler is a hell of a defender. He's the best arguably the best defensive guard in the league. For my liking, his ability to play on ball, off ball. You're going to look at his rebounds there and his assists, and you're going to really wonder why isn't this a guy with 7 or 8 rebounds a game? Why isn't this a guy with 7 or 8 assists a game? Because he plays his role and he plays it tremendously well. He just happens to be an elite level player in that role. And he's proven to be the most clutch player in basketball this season. Everyone will know the 2 big buckets he's made, but he made a lot of big shots playing for the Timberwolves as well, which have been overlooked. Jimmy Buckets for a reason. Again, plays both ends of the floor and is able to deliver on offense. How can he not be in my MVP race? Even though he has jumped teams, I don't think that's affected him. But he does need to continue to gel with his teammates here in Philadelphia, because a lack of chemistry and cohesion will cost them. Butler has been fairly outspoken this season in regards to teammates, particularly in Minnesota. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes with the likes of an Embiid, a Simmons, and a Redick. He seems to be gelling pretty well at the moment. But if he can shoulder, the second option and occasionally the first option of that offensive load, be the best defender on that side, be the guy who delivers down the stretch, there's no reason why he can't remain in the MVP conversation. For me, one of the 5 best all-around players in the game today, Jimmy Butler. Number 5 on my MVP race. At number 4, the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. For the Milwaukee Bucks, he's been putting up tremendous numbers this year. 27.3 points, 12.9 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.5 steals, almost 1.5 blocks a game. At 4.3 turnovers, he's going to need to really look at that. Pretty much nullifying his passing game there. But, plays a whack of defense, so can slightly be excused. Needs to work on a jumper, we'll get to that, but 57.7 from the field, majority of those points coming inside the paint, inside of 10 feet. 11.8 from deep, let's be honest, he's no real threat, the jumper, and 68 from the stripe. Again, he's no threat from the foul line either. You're willing to make him give up the ball. You're willing to let him take the shot and knock it into the lane late game, because the chances of him making it are very, very short. But, he's nothing short of a beast on the floor. There's no doubt about it. He has heart, he has determination. He's able to score, he grabs boards, he's a capable passer, and he's quite a decent defender. A lot of heart and a lot of effort. There's nothing short of a beast athletically as well. 7 foot, 230, 240. He can run, he can jump. It's a shame he can't get a jump shot going, but he'll get to that. And he's arguably the most rounded, has arguably the most rounded game in the NBA today as far as being able to score, rebound, pass, and play defense. A lot of people argue someone else, but it's very hard to deny. If you're going to base your assessment on someone as, say, 1 point and 2 assists more, then great. But the production on both ends of the floor that Giannis brings is almost unrivaled. But again, as I mentioned, he needs to get a jump shot as soon as possible. Again, which is why when you looked at my 10 that were next to make the list, Chris Middleton is on that list, because he's the guy in the fourth quarter they go to make those jump shots. They need to get to the lane. Giannis can do it. They need a block or a steal. Giannis can do it. But as far as making the big jumpers down the stretch in the fourth, they need to get it to Chris Middleton. Again, Giannis gets a jump shot. It's scary, particularly if he can stretch himself out to 17, 18 feet. He doesn't necessarily need that three-point bomb, although it would be good for him to become, a decent spot-up three-point shooter. But if a guy like this can get inside and make the mid-range jumper, get to the rim, again, the most rounded game in the NBA. Once he gets that jump shot settled, look out. No doubt about it. Number 4 on my MVP race so far. Looking at number 3, I have Kawhi Leonard of the Toronto Raptors. 25 points a game, 8.5 rebounds, 3.1 assists, 1.7 steals, half a block on 2 turnovers. Reasonably efficient there, and he's scoring reasonably efficient as well. 48.2 from the field, almost 35% from deep, and almost 84% from the stripe. He's starting to return to his pre-injury Spurs stance. There's no doubt about it. Everyone knows Kawhi, when he was up and firing, was arguably the best player in the league when he was in San Antonio. And that's due to his ability on both ends that can't be questioned. I mean, this is a guy who is a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. One of the best perimeter defenders the league's seen, particularly this side in the 21st century, and certainly in recent memory of the last 20 years. You've got the likes of a Pippen, a Marion, a Jordan, Peyton, all those kind of guys. He's really starting to push into that echelon of the all-time perimeter defenders if he's not already there. The only thing is he needs to be able to stay on the floor for at least 70 games this season for Toronto to have any sort of luck. Kyle Lowry, thankfully, in a couple of games has been able to step up. Serge Ibaka has even thankfully been able to score a few points here or there. But the problem is Kawhi is the key function to this side because he can play both sides of the ball to an elite level. I mean, if he can keep that function up at number 3 and the Raptors secure the best record in the league, there's no reason why Kawhi Leonard, if he plays 70 games, can't have that MVP talk. And that's what it's all going to be about. I mean, they've got a tremendous team record. He's got a good point guard around him. He's got a good big around him. How far can he take this Raptors squad is the next question. But again, no doubt about it for me, Kawhi Leonard, number 3 in my MVP race, and arguably the best two-way player in basketball. At number 2, I have Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. A lot of people are going to ask why I've been rating Davis so highly ahead of him. I'll get to that in a second. But Embiid of the 76ers, 27.5 points, 13.4 rebounds, 3.5 assists. Tremendously good big man numbers. He only needs those 3-4 assists a game with the guards he plays with. And now he's got Jimmy Butler to help him out as well. Half a steal and 2 blocks a game on 3 turnovers. So really efficient from the floor. I think his scoring needs to pick up though. 47.5, less than 47.5 from the field, just a tick over 47%. I mean, he's a big guy. Should be shooting 50%. Should be scoring 50%. There's no doubt about it. 30.7 from deep. He's a big guy. I don't expect him to take the threes, but he's going to want to be shooting a clip of at least 33 and 3 from there. Otherwise, he's just sort of nullifying his game. And then you look at the free throw stripe, he's over 70% as a big, which is quite good. But if you can tick that up to 80%, I think he'd be personally impressed as well. He is easily one of the 2 best big men in the NBA. There's no doubt about it. I think Anthony Davis would be certainly up in this position. With the team record he's got, I can't do it. No one wins an MVP less than 500. So once they start really ticking over 500, don't worry, he'll certainly be up in this echelon of players. I think Davis is the best all-around player in the game, but yeah, there's no doubt about it. Embiid is, if Anthony Davis isn't if he's not number 1, he's certainly number 2. Again, it's that consistency on the scoring end of the floor and putting a bit more heart in on defense occasionally that will get into that number 1 spot. I mean, he needs to be scoring at a clip of 50%. Probably wants to up the steals a bit and probably, a couple, maybe a block. Block or more here or there. He just needs to sort of show that heart. But there's no doubt about it. He's proven to be the number 1 option for Philadelphia. And if he's going to be doing this for the next 10 years, look out. And again, it's just that consistency across 4 quarters. If Embiid has 30 or 40 in the game, he's not scoring at 10 a quarter. He's putting, 17, 18 in the quarter, and then he dies off for the rest of it. Needs to bring that intensity on the floor all the time and really dominate like he says he can. I mean, we know he can. He says he can. We just need to see him do it. Again, number 2, Joel Embiid in my MVP race. And at number 1, it should be no shock. Kevin Durant of the Golden State Warriors so far has been my MVP of the season. 30.1 points, 7.9 rebounds, 6.1 assists, essentially 38 and 6 on the season. Just under a steal and just over a block a game, so really 1-on-1 there on 3.5 turnovers, which is a pretty efficient clip for a guy who has the ball in his hands a lot. And again, scoring can't be denied there. 51.3 from the field, 93 from the stripe. Probably wants to see his three-pointer jump up to about 37-38%. I mean, this is a guy who's had a 50-40-90 season. And he can, I think he's had a 50-40-90 season. If he hasn't, he's certainly got the potential to do it. There's no doubt about it. He's the best player in the NBA. He showed that in the last two NBA Finals trips where he's pushed LeBron right up against the wall, taken his lunch money and smacked him over the head. There's not much more to say about that there. I mean, he's returning to his leading scoring ability. I think Harden leads, at the time of the recording, and particularly at the end of the month, Harden leads the league in scoring, but Durant can certainly do that. And he has shown potential to be a leading defensive player of the year candidate when he wants to be, but he does like to focus on his scoring. And why wouldn't you when you're arguably one of the five greatest scorers the league's ever seen? The only qualm that a lot of people will have with Durant, and they have with this Warriors squad, is the ability to win without Steph Curry. So he needs to be able to continue to lead the team with Steph Curry in the squad and without Steph Curry in the squad, because Steph Curry, when he's on form, if Steph Curry gets 70 games in, don't worry, he could very well be the MVP as well. In the 12 games that he played to the end of November, the Warriors went 10-2. So, you know, I mean, it's very hard to deny a guy that. 70 games is 75, 65, 70 games most MVPs need to play. And if Curry gets 70 anywhere over 65 games, look out for him to be in a real MVP conversation. It's just going to be a gelling process again for Curry coming back into the squad. But there's no doubt about it for me. Kevin Durant has been leading this squad like an absolute champion. Hasn't had a lot of help. I think Klay Thompson and Draymond Green have certainly busted their ability to draw in a significant quality of max contract. They're not leaders. Kevin Durant, although he says he doesn't want to be a leader, has proven to be some sort of leader and lead from the forefront with his scoring ability, his rebounding ability. He knows how to pass and he can play both ends at an efficient clip. And again, that's why he is my number one option for MVP through to the end of November 2018. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Like the post, like the video, I should say. Leave a comment. Let me know what your MVP race looks like so far. Who are your honourable mentions, and sort of who are your 25 best players in the NBA so far through November. Again, subscribe to the channel for more content being released. I'll try and be a little bit more consistent and get a few more topics going for people, just so they can have something to talk about. My daily NBA is no longer practical, just due to work commitments and whatnot heading in over summer. So I'll try and just pump up a few more videos here and there. Might even try and get my weekly NBA videos back and going. Might be the best way to do it. Hit me up on Twitter, Justin_G_Bryan. Always got polls running. Always got basketball and things to talk about. So you can hit me up on there for some more general conversation. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. This has been my 2018-2019 NBA MVP race through to the end of November. And at number one, I have Kevin Durant of the Golden State Warriors. Catch you again soon.